Hi guys, I'm Anna, Integration Manager at Woodpecker SEO, and today I want to show you a different way of how to use snippets in terms of integrations. Today's example will be based on three applications: Zapier, Woodpecker, and HubSpot, but you can use it with another CRM of your choice. So usually you use Zapier to transfer data from Woodpecker to your CRM or in a different way. Just to remind you, a task is a single piece of data transferred from one tool to another. If you're not familiar with how Zapier works, check out our other videos about it. As I said, in today's example, I will use HubSpot as my CRM of choice, and usually when you connect HubSpot and Woodpecker via Zapier, you need to find the contact in HubSpot first to update the information. So I will show you this example right now, just so you can see the difference when I set up another way of using this app. So let's start with, as usual, a trigger, and let's say it will be a prospect reply because it's the most common use case. So I choose Woodpecker as my first application, choose the trigger event prospect replied, of course choosing my account as always, and everything should work. Test my trigger. And yep, I can see the prospect who replied. So I'm clicking on continue. And right now, when I need to transfer data from Woodpecker to HubSpot, I need to find my contact first. So I will choose HubSpot as my app of action and look for the action event called find contact. And here it is. Continue. And here, when I'm setting up my action, I need to provide the information on which I will base my search. So because in Woodpecker, the main, let's say, a prospect identification is an email address, I will look for the exact email address in HubSpot. So I'm choosing first search property here. Okay. And as my action application, I will use HubSpot. And as I said at the beginning of this example, I need to find the contact first in order to update some data about it. So as you can see, I have chosen a HubSpot here, and as an action event, here's the find contact. And I'm clicking on continue. There is my HubSpot account, which is good. And right now I need to set up my action. And as you can see already, I have set it up with contact information with additional email address, but usually you've set up your HubSpot account as you want, and probably you will have many other parameters here to choose. And just remember to provide the email as a first search property value. If you want, you can check this checkbox here, and it means that if Zapier doesn't find the exact email address or contact in your HubSpot account, it will create it. So it could be a very useful option. I'm clicking on continue. Testing my account. There won't be any there won't be such email in my HubSpot account because I'm just doing it for testing purposes. But if you set it up properly, it will find you a contact with that or with that email. Or as I said before, if you check up the exact option in setting up an action field, this contact will be created. So I'm clicking on continue, and here I need to set up another action in my Zap, so it will be a 3-step Zap, because as I said, finding a contact is not enough if I want to update the information. So right now I need to find HubSpot again and choose a proper action, which will be update contact. choosing my HubSpot account again. Okay. And here I need to set up my action, and as you can see, there is a required field, which is an object ID, and I have it already because I found the contact. So I need to choose the proper value from Find Contact in HubSpot action, and there it is, there is ID. So I'm choosing it, and later I can set up this action as I want. So I can update any information that interests me with information retrieved from Woodpecker. So that's the first example of how you can find the contact in HubSpot and update the information, but there is a little workaround, and it is useful because it's not such a task-consuming way. So as you've seen, this is the one way of updating contacts in HubSpot or any other CRM of choice probably, but it might be a little task-consuming because you have an additional step for finding a contact in the CRM, and I will show you right now a little workaround for that, which actually requires you to create additional ZAP, but overall at the end it will be less task-consuming than this example you just saw, especially if you have many ZAPs set up for Woodpecker triggers. So let's go with the other example. As I mentioned, you need to create additional ZAP for this workaround, but it will also help you keep the same data in both databases. So if you, for example, add some new contact in HubSpot, it will be automatically transferred to Woodpecker, and in this way you will have the same piece of information in both applications. So let's go with that right now. And this time, as my trigger application, I will use HubSpot. And my trigger event will be new contact. And you will see why I'm doing this right now. Choosing my account again. Okay, continue. Testing the trigger. Yeah, there is no contact because, as I said, I have my account for just testing purposes, but the most important part is when you set up the action. So for my action app, I will use Woodpecker because I want to transfer any new contact in HubSpot to Woodpecker. And as my action event, I will go with create or update prospect. It will create or update a prospect on my main database, but if you, for example, want to transfer this contact to the campaign of choice, just go with create update prospect in campaign. I'm clicking on continue, choosing Woodpecker account this time. And here, when I'm setting up my action, of course, I need to provide an email because, as I've mentioned before, it's the main information to identify the prospect in Woodpecker. But what is more important right now is that I will use one of the custom snippets, and by custom snippets, I mean one of the snippets from number 1 to 15 you can find at the end of the prospects table to provide the information about the contact ID in HubSpot. I will go with a snippet number 3, for example, but you can use any other snippets you want. And here I need to find ID, and yep, there it is. So I'm choosing that. And if you need, you can provide any more information in this section. But I will end up it right here. So I'm clicking on continue. And this is actually the way of how I'm transferring the required in the other way, in other example actually, required object ID to Woodpecker. So with this ZAP, just to summarize it, I will transfer not only new contact added to HubSpot to Woodpecker, but also I will have the object ID also in Woodpecker. And I will show you why I just did that. So I need to go back to my Zapier dashboard and create another ZAP. And as you probably remember in the previous example, I've shown you a 3-step Zap where there was a trigger based on Woodpecker. Then I was finding a contact in HubSpot, and after that I was updating the contact. But this time I will create a Zap that consists only of 2 steps. So for my app event, I'm choosing Woodpecker as it was in the previous example. And let's say the prospect replied, we'll fire this app. Continue, choosing account. And as you can see, I have my prospect replied in here. I'm clicking on continue, and here in the action field, I will choose HubSpot as my application of choice. And in the first example, at this point, I was choosing the Find Contacts action event, but this time, because I already have my object ID in Woodpecker, I will go with Update Contact right away. I'm clicking on continue, choosing my HubSpot account. And here in the setup action fields, as you can see again, I have a required parameter named object ID, and I have it already in Woodpecker in my snippet number 3. So I'm just looking for that snippet here. Okay, and here is some value provided by me in Woodpecker, which actually might be your object ID in HubSpot. And I just need to click on that and fill any other fields here with information I need to update. So as you could see, this little workaround provides you a different way of how you can use snippets in Woodpecker, not just in terms of sending emails, but also as a field to provide any other information you want for a better automation. Maybe at the first sight it looks like you will have to use the same amount of tasks because you've set up a different, another Zap in your account, but overall, it might seem on the first sight like you will consume the same amount of tasks in Zapier because you've just set up an additional Zap, but overall you won't. Because once you've transferred the object ID from HubSpot to Woodpecker with other prospects' information, it will remain the same as long as you use the same HubSpot account. And therefore, you don't need to find a contact in HubSpot each time something happens in Woodpecker. So this is the way of how to lessen the amount of tasks you use, and you can actually use them for another Zaps or just to provide more information to your HubSpot account and keep them up to date. As I said on the beginning of this video, I used HubSpot just for example, but you can actually use this workaround with any other CRM of your choice or actually with any other application. And if you have any other idea of how to use snippets to customize your actions or make your automations more advanced, let us know in the comments and I will gladly record a video about it. I hope this little tutorial will be helpful for you, and as usual, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can never miss any integration video, and thanks for watching.